Where's Jack?
He's upstairs. I know he's in the building.
Okay.
Anyhow,
Where's Esther? Who's missing? Jack and Esther are missing.
anyhow, I'll open this April 20th, 2016 meeting of the City of Oceanside Harbor District and CDC. Call, please.
Mayor Wood,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lowry,
Here.
Councilmember Kern,
Here.
and Councilmember Feller is here according to Mr. Kern.
Go ahead.
I'll speak real slowly till everyone gets here. Council will meet in closed session to discuss item 1 on the agenda, conference with labor negotiator involving the management employees of the City of Oceanside and the Western Council of Engineers. We'll also meet on item 2A, the agenda, conference of legal counsel on existing litigation in the matter of Kozich versus DPR Construction in the City of Oceanside et al. And item 2B, conference of legal counsel on anticipated litigation in the matter of one case. We'll meet on item 3, conference with a real estate negotiator involving the Jolly Roger restaurant parcel in the Oceanside Harbor. Negotiating parties are the Oceanside Small Craft Harbor District and Aloha Partners LP. Under negotiations are terms and conditions for pricing terms for the lease of the real property. Finally, the council will meet on item 3B on the agenda addendum, conference with real estate negotiator on the portion of Rancho Del Oro Drive right-of-way north of State Route 78 south of Vista Way, the portion of Hamar Drive right-of-way south of State Route 78 west of College Boulevard, and a portion of the relinquished right-of-way at the southeast corner of State Route 76 and Airport Road. The negotiating parties are City of Oceanside, BGT Media, Outfront Media, and Lamar Outdoor Advertising. Under negotiations are price and terms for the use of the real property.
That's all.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and I thank you for the first half of the council meeting. Then we get another shot at it at 6 o'clock, and I appreciate it. Mr. Clerk, thank you. And we'll go on with the agenda after a roll call. And will you notify the public on item 16, please?
Yes, item number 16 is removed from the agenda by staff.
Okay, thank you, Rich.
Mayor Wood,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lowry,
Here.
Councilmember Feller,
Here.
Councilmember Kern,
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
One first thing, I'd like to say this. I've been in and out for a couple of weeks with a cold and a cough and all those other things. I got laryngitis and couldn't even speak. I still have a little bit of them. I apologize to everybody in the audience if I imposed on any of your issues. I would like to thank the deputy mayor for filling in for me. I do appreciate that. But other than that, I have grandkids now. I think that's why I keep getting sick. Anyhow, back to you, please.
Yes, consent calendar items 4 through 13.
Move approval.
No public.
No public. Okay, back to the council.
Mayor, I have a question, and it was on item 13.
Thank you.
And maybe I can just get a quick answer from the city manager. Why was this approved 5-0 if there's 9 members on the Downtown Advisory Committee?
Councilmember Feller, it was a quorum. They did have a quorum with 5 there, so they were able to hold the meeting. I don't know why we had 4 absences at that particular meeting, but they did have a quorum.
Must not be a very valuable committee if they can't get a quorum. So anyway, I'll vote for it.
Maybe they had laryngitis.
With that, please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much. When you have time, please, number 14.
Yes, item number 14 is adoption of resolution upholding Planning Commission Resolution number 2015-P37, denying regular coastal permit for the remodel of an addition to a single-family residence at 1709 South Pacific Street. Applicant appellant Dan Matlock and Candace Cross. This is following the close of the public hearing on 4/6/2016. The matter was continued to this meeting for council deliberation and decision.
That'll help me. I'm sorry about my voice. But I reviewed the video from that council meeting. I talked to staff and several other people for my disclosures. I've talked to both sides and talked to several people out there in the neighborhood. It's something I'm aware of, and they've been there for a while. And I'm sorry I wasn't here, but I did review all the videos and comments. I've been asked if I can speak more. Talking to the city attorney, I've watched and reviewed it, and the council had continued to this date, and we closed the public hearing. So as for continuation of any input, no on that right now. I'm sorry for that. No, and we'll go on from here. We're coming back to the council, and I did review all the staff and material. Thank you very much. And we're back to the council. Anybody wishes to speak?
Mr. Mayor, can I just make a quick comment? You correctly stated that the public hearing was closed. I think there may be a need for updated disclosures because I believe the council's had additional communication since the close of the public hearing. So it may be wise to do that now.
Thank you very much. Any further disclosure since the last time? Back to you.
Well, we've had some emails, as well as I've done a site visit, had a special meeting with a couple of the neighbors there. That's it.
Got some emails and a bulky piece of mail.
Thank you. I've reviewed the stuff in the past, as I told you about, and I've got some other emails. Talked to staff again for being out with sickness in it. Updated me on that. That's up at all.
You got it. Yes, I received 6 emails, a letter, and also telephone communication at City Hall. I also had a couple of people who stopped me and asked me about it, about the string line issue. In addition, I had already met with the Matlocks, and which is the applicants and appellants, and I also met and after the hearing from last council meeting, I additionally met with Mr. Thor Stensrud. Thank you.
Similar, I had the applicant, the appellant, had communication with them, had communication with some of the neighbors down there, and actually talked to staff about some issues.
Just to be clear, all the written communication you received has it's been part of the record for your action tonight.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, back to the council for this particular item. I have wait for Ms. Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did, as I said, meet with the Matlocks, who I've known for several years now. And I know that this issue about the string line has been a critical issue over the years. And in reviewing the history, many of the homes that were built on Pacific Street were built according to the 1992 amendment, or the rules of the city, because there was no LCP amendment. So it was about 20 years worth. And so what has happened for the last few years is that we have been going through and applying the 1986, our LCP amendment, LCP 1986. So in addressing some of the issues that were raised by the Matlocks, I first do feel that I do need to say that I believe the Plan Commission did base their decision on the 1986. I read the report. It's discretionary. I know that it seems a little confusing in that the 86 allowed some going beyond the string line if there were certain conditions met. That is, that it would not obstruct the view of the neighbors and that it was consistent with the surrounding community. 1992, so 86, it was allowed under those standards. In 1992, it was not allowed at all to go beyond the string line. So really the only difference is that 86, which is what we have been applying for a few years now, is that it is discretionary, it's permissive, provided there are two conditions met, that it just does not obstruct the views, and I would add probably public views, but the neighbors, it specifically says the neighbors' views, and that it must be consistent with the surrounding community. And we did receive a diagram by Mr. Stensrud, that pretty much superimposed the applicant's proposal with other neighboring homes. And it's clear to me that it's not consistent with the surrounding community, and that it does go beyond the string line. So, and that it does block views. I understand that the Matlocks have taken their time and a lot of effort to come up with this addition. Unfortunately, I cannot support this. I think that the sense that I feel from this community, from this neighborhood, is that they have accepted what has been approved thus far, according to the 86, as far as they should go to maintain this character, and that therefore they would really welcome the Matlocks to go that far as others have gone, but not to go beyond that. So I'm going to move that we uphold the Planning Commission's decision. Certainly, I understand again that these are very critical issues. I believe that the neighbors have weighed in here, have shown us renderings and their homes, saying, look, this is what we would like to see, this is what we've done, and we really welcome the Matlocks to do the same thing. So that's my motion, to uphold the Planning Commission
Do I have a
decision.
second on that motion?
I'm considering, but I want the Matlocks to be able to, what is it we do without prejudice?
Okay. I think you mean denial without prejudice, meaning that they could refile within the 12-month time period after your decision, assuming the motion were to carry. Typically, when an appeal is heard and the project is denied, then there's a period of 12 months when no application will be received by the city, but you have the authority to deny it without prejudice, which has been done in the past if the issues could be remedied.
So who's up?
I would add that to the motion, denial without prejudice.
Am I up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I will, I absolutely, in this case, want nothing past the string line. I would say that his compatibility with the neighborhood there is just is a little too strong, and I think the place right next door was approved with something very similar to Mr. Sandstrud's house, and I've been alongside all these homes, and you know, there's a few that have stepped across the line, but some of them have been on the coast for a long time. You know, before there was, you know, the type of issue. So, you know, I want it clear that nothing he would submit will go past the string line, and the bulk of the, you know, I want to be for his rights as a property owner, but I think he's taken it to limits that are, you know, really out of character with anything within 4 or 5 houses either direction. So maybe even more. So I will second it, but those are my comments on what would come forward. You know, nothing past the string line and something more in character with the neighboring homes.
Thank you. There is a second. And any other comments from the council, please? I have no lights on. I know a few of you want to go right ahead.
Just to clarify, so we would add to the resolution that's in front of you on the bottom line of page 1 to reflect that the denial is without prejudice within the meaning of the Oceanside zoning ordinance. I think it's 4612 is the OZO section that governs appeals. So,
Okay. And I think that Councilmember Feller's comments, if we want to include that in the motion, that would be fine.
okay, I think the decision about the string line is already embodied in the Planning Commission resolution, and so you're affirming, this resolution simply affirms those findings.
Great.
So I think that's covered.
Mr. Kern, please.
Thank you. I know this is kind of a convoluted answer, but I would have, maybe somebody can explain to me why the original staff report to Planning Commission recommended approval, and now a new staff report was written for recommendation of denial. So that 180 flip, now we're here trying to pick that apart. So if somebody can explain to me how that happened, because I personally would have probably, with the modification that they offered of lowering the height, moving their equipment off the roof and relocating that, and actually the staff's original recommendation of 4 foot past the string line, I would have probably gone for that. I mean, because it is within the 86 code, and they are allowed to do that. So, but then the whole staff report was turned 180. So maybe somebody can explain to me how that happened.
Sure. We had concerns about the bulk and scale, and that's one reason why we were asking for the decks to step back. There were also those provisions in the zoning code that allowed exceptions for the height in the string line. But after discussing with the Planning Commission and hearing their concerns about the sanctity of the string line and the concern about bulk and scale, we reflected on their comments, had some internal discussions, and decided that we had concerns about conformity with the local coastal program and the bulk and scale. So it was reflection after the Planning Commission's discussion.
Okay, and part of the thing about the Planning Commission, it was a little disturbing that they were going to try to set policy down there. And so if somebody can relate to the Planning Commission, if they do not set policy, we set policy up here. So if you can convey that to them. Again, I would like to compromise with that, but I guess we'll have to see how the vote goes. Thank you.
See no other lights. My opinion is I've talked to everybody on this issue, and my concern, and there are issues, but mainly it comes down to, I thought the city should compromise to some extent. Staff recommendation before the Planning Commission was to approve it. I read a lot of documents that didn't really help me per se. It confused me more. But basically, they had said yes. Planning Commission had said no. I was hoping for some sort of compromise. Again, I say I'm sorry I wasn't here, but I thought that they still had a potential ability to go forward and address the issue as the staff had recommended before. And I think that's an option here, but like I say, I'd like to see where this motion goes. And I think that my opinion would be at least let them go forward with the approval of the staff and get made prior to the planning commission. Now, that's not going to make everybody happy, I agree. We see that all the time. But that's a concern I have. But I'll seem to go along with the group. Mr. Kern, I agree with you that it was approved before by staff and it somehow came back to you. I think they should look at it differently and be approved, but we'll see how this meeting goes tonight. That's my opinion, okay? And with that, anybody else, Chuck? Okay. We have a motion and a second on that, and could we get the motion again?
Yeah, motion is to deny the project without prejudice, which is upholding the Planning Commission's decision.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 4-1, Kern, no.
Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. It's without prejudice. Again, I think this should come back to the city staff and get approval. Anyhow, that's the vote of the council. I appreciate all your time and effort. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Item 15, please.
Yes, item number 15 is adoption of a resolution to initiate a basin boundary modification with the California Department of Water Resources for the San Luis Rey Valley Basin in coordination with basin stakeholders.
Thank you, Ms. Dale. I'm sorry to let some people go out. Anyhow, please go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This evening I will be speaking regarding the San Luis Rey Valley Groundwater Basin Boundary Modification Request, a big mouthful. To my left is Leslie Duma with RMC Environment and Consulting, and she has been assisting the city in this process. She will be available for questions as will I after the presentation. In 2014, the state passed a new law that created the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, and it establishes a framework for managing groundwater in California, essentially allowing for agencies to manage basins in a sustainable way and consistent with their water rights and ability to store groundwater. SGMA is achieved through implementation of groundwater sustainability agency formation, as well as through preparing and implementing groundwater sustainability plans to this requirement. This is a map showing the San Luis Rey Valley groundwater basin extending all the way from the coast past the Oceanside boundary on the east and across the 15 and up into the Palma Valley groundwater basin. So it is a very extensive basin. Last year in August, the Department of Water Resources gathered stakeholders to discuss the process for the basin modification as well as groundwater sustainability agency formation. The groups met again later in the month to discuss the formation of groundwater sustainability agencies. Again in September, they met with the county to discuss the management options of the basin. And then later on in early 2016, through a grant that the county received with the state, stakeholders were interviewed by personnel from the Center for Collaborative Policy to see which way they wanted the basin to be managed. They reported out and met with stakeholders again in early March, and
there were various options that were discussed. One, groundwater sustaining agency, 2, 3, 4. Many of these involved suggestions to have Oceanside managing not only the areas within the city of Oceanside, but all the way out to the 15 freeway. The formal groundwater sustaining agency formation of the Mission Basin we see as the only path forward, allowing Oceanside to manage not only the areas within the city boundaries and not all the way out to the 15 freeway. This effort must be coordinated with other basin entities, and we've been undergoing that effort for the past month. The basin boundary modification will help Oceanside form a groundwater sustaining agency in the future, and there's a small area of Camp Pendleton which is included in the basin boundary. The map here depicts the Mission Basin boundary as submitted to the Department of Water Resources. It's the area bounded in red. As I mentioned, RMC Water and Environment has been working collaboratively with the city to assist in preparing documents to submit to the Department of Water Resources. At the time that we were submitting those documents, the County of San Diego also expressed an interest in filing a joint application with the city. And we have filed a joint application with the state in coordination with the county. That application was submitted prior to March 31st, which was the deadline to submit boundary modifications within the state. In doing so, the city notified stakeholders, and we received support letters from a majority of stakeholders. There was one stakeholder, the city of Carlsbad, which did object to the boundary modification.
Why was that? Do you know?
Council may be aware that the Carlsbad has filed an action against the Water Resources Board, questioning the need to obtain a permit for them to extract water in the basin. You know, Carlsbad has some ownership of property in the basin. They're trying to perfect their water rights, which I think is the basis for their objection to the action tonight. I don't see how this could adversely affect them personally, but I think they sent that letter to preserve their rights.
So next steps would be to approve the resolution before you today and allow staff to submit that to the Department of Water Resources. We're allowed to do that 30 days past the time that we submitted the request to the Department of Water Resources. And future actions include becoming a groundwater sustainability agency, developing a groundwater sustainability plan. We're still evaluating what those monetary costs would be, but they will have some sort of a cost to us, and then ultimately implementing the groundwater sustainability plan. And if we did not move forward with a groundwater sustainability agency action, the default agency that would be regulating the city would be the state. So staff's recommendation this evening is to adopt the resolution initiating a boundary modification with the California Department of Water Resources and authorize the mayor to execute the resolution. And that concludes my presentation, and I'll be available for questions.
Please, one more time, introduction for the young lady on deck. I think you're also here, if you would. She'll help you.
Hi, sorry. I am Leslie Duma with RMC Water and Environment, and we are a consulting firm that the city has retained to help navigate the SIGMA requirements.
And your partner back there, is she also here from? Thank you. Any questions that I might have is why Carlsbad jumping in on this? I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure there's anything more to add, Mr. Mayor. I think they're just preserving their rights. I don't know specifically how this would adversely impact them in any way. They didn't put any factual basis for their objection in their letter, they simply said, in light of the ongoing litigation, they were preserving their rights in opposing. So if we receive any additional factual information, I'll certainly pass that along to you.
I was just curious. Thank you very much. Thank you. And questions from the council, please. Ms. Sanchez, please.
No public on this item.
Thank you. This basin is so critical to Oceanside residents and the future of Oceanside. I did get a chance to tour the Delta, and they pretty much, talked about what lack of management has done to the Delta and the subsidence and how critical it is for local cities to really get in front of this and manage their groundwater. So I move adoption of the resolution, and I look forward to becoming, hopefully, a groundwater sustainability agency. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kern?
I'll second. This wasn't something that the city of Oceanside did that required this legislation. This legislation came about because of the drought and the overdrafting of some of the aquifers in the Central Valley. So the state passed the law to basically apply to the whole state. Our water utilities department, I think, has been very good stewards of our water resources within the city. And so the idea that we have to do this, and I think having us manage our own water within our own boundaries is probably the prudent thing to do. I don't know what they're going to do upriver. I don't know whether Rincon or Fallbrook or Paula, how they're going to get together. I know they have issues beyond jurisdictional. They have tribal issues up there when they get upriver. So, and I'm glad we're not part of that. I think I'm glad that we're going to take control of our own water destiny here. So, the city of Carlsbad issue will play out. I agree with the city attorney that it is probably not significant to what we're doing today.
Mr. Feller, please.
It might be different if they'd opened the breach on Cannon from through the city of Carlsbad, but I digress. In coordination with basin stakeholders, what does that mean?
It means that we met with other parties that were upstream of the city of Oceanside.
So they really don't care what we're doing? Is that what you're...
I think they do care, and we've received quite a few letters of support because the action today is allowing Oceanside to really manage what's going on within Oceanside. There was some worry among some of those basin stakeholders that Oceanside might want to manage the entire basin, which I don't think that we have any interest in doing way outside of our boundaries. And so I think folks were very happy that we were containing our efforts within the city boundaries.
Yeah, frankly, I wouldn't want anything to do with the basin underneath Pala, where the Pala tribe is, because they have a landfill right over theirs. Not the Gregory Canyon one, but one right in the middle of their reservation that is just sitting there unlined, percolating down. So anyway, I support this.
Thank you. Could we vote, please?
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much for your time. Council reports. First off, I'll pass. I've been out too long sick.
Deputy Mayor Lowry.
Thank you. Well, I attended the Earth Festival last Saturday and participated in a tree planting. We had a bunch of little kids shoveling dirt in there and put some trees in the ground that'll be here in 10 years when Jack and I have already retired. They'll be looking good. 10? Which Walmart? Okay. Let's see, I also led a native plant, native plant landscape yard garden tour. Hey, you were supposed to come, Jerry. The native landscape garden tour a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I forgot.
In my hysteric.
We've been there.
Oh, you've been there.
Sorry.
Okay.
No,
well,
I didn't go this year.
The plants are doing really well right now. They were a little shy the week of the tour. Anyway, today I got some really fantastic news. The city manager informed me that the City of Oceanside just has been promised 45 more VASH vouchers. That's vouchers for homeless veterans, housing for 1 year. It includes the veteran and their family if they have one. Last year we got our first round ever of 40 VASH vouchers, and when we went to Washington, D.C. in February, they told us that things have tightened up around the HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and the Veterans Administration have changed their requirements, and they wanted to know how successful the programs were before they award any more. And apparently our program was very successful, and so they gave us 45 instead of 40. So that's pretty exciting, and there's a lot of value in that. And even though the weather was perfect in D.C., it was very exhausting because I was experiencing what the mayor just has been experiencing, and I made sure I shared that with all of the bureaucrats there in D.C. Thank you.
Councilmember Kern, or Councilmember Feller, sorry.
Thank you. Went to the funeral for Harvey Schwartz a week ago. That was a pretty moving testimony about his contributions to the disabled, mentally disabled, and to Terry Inc. And he had some good in his heart, and you know, I'm sure that some of us who dealt with him on the street were not appreciative of that at the time, but he did have a good heart for Oceanside. Also, Candy Szabo, Dean Szabo, was on the school board some years back, but his wife died and went to that service. She was quite an activist. Their son played in the Little League World Series, so I had traveled with them to Williamsport. Relay for Life on Saturday was the biggest event they put on so far. I'm up at Maricosta. That was it's always moving to see cancer survivors spreading their good news. That was very good. Oceanside Days of Art has got to do something to change what was out there. It was pretty weak effort compared to what we've seen in the past. The Eagle Court of Honor on Sunday for Ryan Johnson, just under 14, and he became an Eagle Scout, and that's a pretty impressive, just very impressive as far as I'm concerned, to accomplish that in so short a time. The mayor and Jerry were both there. Went to the Main Street Mixer last night. Hello, Betty. Beautiful view. We got the Business Expo tomorrow at 2 out at QLN. I want to mention Darren Thomas is turning 50. He's New Vision Ministries. A lot of Oceanside residents are members of his church, and so he's turning 50, so I want to wish him happy birthday. And really, Seroptimus International has LunaFest at Brooks Theater on the 1st, 2 to 6 p.m. And Vicki, my aide, told me that I'm in for a interesting afternoon, so I'll look forward to that. We've had plenty of birthdays and lots of family gatherings. Everything's good in the Feller clan. Thank you.
Councilor Kern.
Thank you. Actually, a lot of the things that they talked about, I have actually, Jimmy, you can put that back, I'll talk about it. The idea that, the Relay for Life, like Councilmember Feller said, it was their biggest year ever. and their sponsors, Genentech, and a lot of the healthcare providers around town really supported them. That was really, really nice. Days of Art, Earth Day, I did watch the deputy mayor plant a tree. They wanted me to plant a tree, but I figured if I planted it would probably die, because that's how good I am with plants, so I just stayed away from that. So hopefully the deputy mayor's tree will survive. So, and to do that. The Main Street Mixer we got to. And then Ryan Johnson, the council member Feller, and the mayor and I were there. What was really amazing about this kid, and I mean a kid, he actually completed all his Eagle Scout requirements at 13 years old. Now, he had to wait till he was 14 because they had to go to the Boy Scout Council and present it, but all his project stuff was done when he was 13. He was finally, they awarded it on Sunday, so that was really good. Now, KOCT can go to the overhead, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, but the Luna Fest short films was on May the 1st, 2016 at Brooks Theater. So really, to support our local theaters, we really need to do that. And as an aside, if you have not seen The Elephant Man at the Sunshine Brooks, you ought to go see it. It is really, really good. Blake, my wife and I went and saw it a couple weeks ago, and the performance was outstanding. So hopefully you can support our local theaters and do that, and then also support the Luna Fest. Right, pull that, Jim. And then as we go forward, next Thursday, I will be sitting on a panel down in San Diego about the San Diego Transportation Corridor safety concerns about San Onofre. As everybody knows, I'm part of the community engagement panel for decommissioning of San Onofre and about the moving of the nuclear fuel off of that site to a consolidated interim storage site. The Women in Transportation brought that panel forward, and we're going to discuss those issues about how to move that safely off of that site. Then the other one, and put this on your calendar for May the 20th, and I'll probably bring this back a couple times, but I'm working with Diane Harkey and our local state legislators to have a small business seminar and resource expo out at Maricosta for those people that want to start a small business. Diane Harkey is the State Board of Equalization, and so her issues that she brings up to people, how to actually start a business, what they have to do to start a business in the state of California, which is very difficult. So she wants to bring forward ideas to help people start businesses. So that's going to be May the 20th at Maricosta College. So if you know anybody that wants to start a business in California, please have them come to that. And so I'm co-hosting it with Senator Bates, Assemblymember Chavez, Assemblymember Waldron, and Mike Salina from the Water District. So anyway, that's my report. Thank you.
Councilor Sanchez.
Thank you. And our Earth Day, Earth Fest was the 8th annual, and it was a great turnout. Maybe staff can work closer together with Days of Art and may kind of have more of a synergy, kind of almost connect instead of having to cross the street. That might be really helpful. I want to give another plug to tomorrow's the Oceanside Business Expo / Hispanic Business Showcase tomorrow, 2 to 6. And the reason why, and it's at the QLN Conference Center, and the reason why I want to do that is that our own staff is going to be doing a seminar at 4:30 regarding AB 1826. And it's an information and educational seminar. It has to do with what the state law is now requiring that we do. This actually applies to the commercial community, and it's basically recycling of organics, foods, organics. And this year, the program, the city, each locality is supposed to identify the largest generators. And so at this 4:30 seminar, Cal Recycle will be there as well. So this is a state requirement, and I believe that our staff is really in front of this at the county level. I think that Colleen Foster actually was able to give a presentation to other cities regarding 1826, so this is really exciting for us. The 500 years of Latino Americans continues here in Oceanside with a program on Saturday at the library. It's a Jarabe Mexicano concert, so please come on down to the main library. I'm here in the Civic Center for that. On Tuesday, the 26th, we have the Oceanside Tourism Summit, and it's the Power of One at the Brooks Theater, 8:30 to 10:30. On Wednesday, 27th, we have here at the council chambers, we're going to have our annual budget workshop. So please come on down and participate if you wish. It starts at 2 o'clock here. Again, Wednesday, 27th, 2 p.m., our budget workshop. Thursday, 28th, at Libby Lake Park, we have Dia del Niño celebration with the Adelante bookmobile. So kids from, it says 0 to 12, so a few months to 12, bring your kids. This is a really, really nice event. On the Saturday, April 30th, this is something that I know Diane Nygaard has been waiting for. This is a ribbon cutting at El Corazon Park for the Garrison Creek Nature Trail. So that's at 9 a.m. And I don't know, maybe we should name it after her. She's fought so hard to have this trail. Well, we do have one named after Mr. Hayenga Trail. And Mr. Hiyenga was my 9th grade biology teacher. So I guess he was one of our trailblazers in Oceanside. We do have one named after him, and I believe he's been living for the last few years in a small town, I forget the name of it, up north. And I want to say finally, I want to give kudos to the American GI Forum Oceanside chapter. They are going to be celebrating their 50th anniversary here in Oceanside. That's Saturday, May 21st at our Veteran Center here in Oceanside. I was one of the recipients of the scholarships they've been, every year providing for 50 years, scholarships to our kids. So I want to congratulate the American GI Forum Oceanside chapter. They followed me since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and they were very helpful when I went away to college, and I know that they continue to do that, and so congratulations, American GI Forum. Thank you.
Thank you. If we may, and we're going to take a recess until 6 o'clock, come back to the second half of the council. Please wait.
Under 22?
We can do, excuse me, closed session reports.
Thank you. The council met in closed session to discuss item 1 on the closed session agenda, conference with labor negotiator on the status of negotiations with the management employees of the City of Oceanside and the Western Council of Engineers. There's no action to report. Item 2A, conference with legal counsel on existing litigation in the matter of Kozich versus DPR Construction in the City of Oceanside. Again, no action to report on that item. There was no meeting on item 2B. Council met on item 3A, conference with a real estate negotiator involving the Jolly Roger restaurant parcel. Negotiating parties are the Oceanside Small Craft Harbor District and Aloha Partners LP. Under negotiations are price and terms for the lease of the property. There's no action to report on that item. And finally, item 3B on the agenda addendum, conference with real estate negotiator involving the real properties that were disclosed at 3:30, which I previously read out and are identified on the agenda. Under negotiations are price and terms for the use of the real property interests, and that finally there is no action on item 3B to report tonight.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned until 6 o'clock. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second half of City Council. I was out a couple of weeks with a cold, flu, and laryngitis. I have a little bit still. But thank you. I appreciate it. Special even tonight, some awards. We have some really special guests in the front row over here. They kind of stand out from the rest of you, but anyhow, it's good to see them. Anyhow, we'll get started with the second half of this. I'll give it back to my aide, if you please.
Please stand for the pledge and the invocation. Tonight's invocation will be led by City Clerk Zach Beck, who is also youth pastor for the Fields Church.
Please join me in bowing your heads. Father, we come before you to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to reside here in the city of Oceanside. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community of different backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, and different futures, yet one common goal, and that is the betterment of the city. We come together tonight to seek your guidance, wisdom, and discernment during the deliberations that transpire this evening, and in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Feller, Councilmember Kern, Councilmember Sanchez, Deputy Mayor Lowry, and Mayor Wood. May you grant them wisdom and peace in their decisions, and may they lead our city forward to a bright future. We say all these things in your precious name. Amen.
Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Miss Oceanside, Kylie McKenzie, and Miss Teen Oceanside, Jacinda Rios.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Young ladies, I appreciate you. Have a seat.
Next, we have the Employee Service Awards. Would Alma Sanchez from Human Resources please come forward?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to impose on you, but this is one of the nicest things we do to see how long people have been with the City of Oceanside, and believe me, a lot of people with longevity, and I appreciate that. Please.
Good evening. At this time, we will call all department directors, council members to come up to the dais, please. So good evening, Mayor Wood, council members, department directors, and everyone in the audience. It's with great pleasure that we present to you tonight 4 employees who have reached the praiseworthy accomplishment of 30 years of service. When your name is called, please come forward. Leonard Cosby. Leonard began his career with the City of Oceanside on February 24, 1986 as a parking enforcement officer with the police department. Leonard moved into field operations with the police department and has served as a police officer, corporal, sergeant, and is currently a police lieutenant. Let's congratulate Leonard for 30 years of service to our community.
By the way, I did about 30 years of service with the police department. And he and I both had brown hair when we started.
Thank you, Leonard. Next, we have Juan Gomez. Juan began his career with the City of Oceanside on March 9, 1986, as a meter service worker 1 in the Water Utilities Department. Juan has worked in various capacities in the Water Utilities Department and currently serves as a senior meter service worker. Let's congratulate Juan for 30 years of service to our community. Thank you, Juan. Next, we have Calvin Harris. Calvin began his career with the City of Oceanside on March 10, 1986, as a maintenance worker 1 in the Water Utilities Department. Calvin has held various positions in the Water Utilities Department and currently serves as Utility Supervisor. Let's congratulate Calvin for 30 years of service. Thank you, Calvin. And lastly, we have Mark Patnode. Mark began his career with the City of Oceanside on March 24, 1986, as a maintenance worker 1. Mark has worked in various capacities in the Water Utilities Department and currently serves as Plant Maintenance Supervisor. Let's congratulate Mark for 30 years of service to our community with a round of applause. Thank you, Mark. That concludes our service award presentation for tonight. Thank you and congratulations.
Next, we have a proclamation in recognition of 2015 Miss Oceanside and Miss Teen Oceanside and their courts. Would the following individuals please come forward when I call your name? Miss Oceanside, Kylie McKenzie. Miss Oceanside Princesses, Jacqueline Montano. Miss Teen Oceanside, Jacinda Rios. Miss Teen Oceanside Princesses, Lauren Bell. Crystalina Banuelos. And Kayla Engelhardt. Jackie Knapp, President of the Oceanside Sea Lions Club. Suzette Lamabas, immediate past President and pageant co-chair. Pam Kenke, Community Liaison and Pageant Coordinator. And all other Sea Lions members who would like to come forward. Proclamation in honor of 2015 Miss Oceanside, Miss Teen Oceanside, and their courts. Whereas the Oceanside Sea Lions was chartered in 1968 and established the Miss Oceanside, Miss Teen Oceanside Scholarship Pageant in 1981, and whereas these young ladies were crowned on April 25th, 2015, and have represented the City of Oceanside and Oceanside Sea Lions Club as goodwill ambassadors at many events throughout San Diego County this past year, and whereas these outstanding ambassadors attend Oceanside High School, El Camino High School, Mission Vista High School, Cal State Northridge, University of California Irvine, University of San Diego, and Miracosta College, and are students in good standing with honors and are involved in school activities. And whereas all are very involved in community activities and have attended numerous events, including the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce, Sunset Mixers, ribbon-cutting ceremonies for newsnesses and anniversaries, Operation Appreciation Day, Harbor Days, Main Street Oceanside Mixers, Oceanside Christmas Tree Lighting, Oceanside Pacific Kiwanis Beach Fun Day, Bike the Coast, Oceanside PCM Turkey Trot, Friends of Oceanside Parks Concerts in the Park, Sundays at Heritage Park, the Oceanside International Film Festival, the Phil-Am Annual Cultural Event, Relay for Life, and other school and city programs. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jim Wood, Mayor of the City of Oceanside, California, do hereby proclaim my sincere appreciation to Miss Oceanside and Miss Teen Oceanside and their courts for their volunteer efforts on behalf of our community, and gratefully acknowledge them for representing our city this past year. Issued this 20th day of April, 2016.
People taking photographs, you can move wherever you want, pull down here, but thank you, ladies, for representing the city of Oceanside at all the places you go. Really, when you run for these positions, you don't realize how many places you have to go and represent Oceanside, but we got a pretty good cast. Now, the girls are lovely, but all these support people, Kiwanis or whatever, and particularly this young lady here, my neighbor. Thank God that you're here and you do so much for the city of Oceanside. All of you people taking pictures, I can't think of a wonderful group representing the city than this lovely assortment of fantastic ladies. God bless you all, and I hope you're going to college somewhere nearby where you can see you once in a while, okay? You ever have the feeling you get a photo like this, you look 20 years older and you stand next to these girls? Again, thank you very much. I got other things to do, but I want to say thank you. This is more important, but I'll get to them later. Yeah, thank you very much. God bless all of you. Yes. I didn't take a picture with you. You were always very good.
We just would like to invite everybody to our pageant this Saturday evening at 6 o'clock at the James Truex Performing Arts Center, El Camino High School. Please come and join us. We'd love to see you all. Thank you.
Next, we have the Gold Journey to Excellent Award to OPD Explorer Post number 285. Would Andrew Royster, Director of the Exploring Program, please come forward? along with Oceanside Police Detective Ryan Malone and OPD Explorer Julian Payo. Julen.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Royster. I am the Director of Exploring Programs for San Diego and Imperial Counties. I'm here today on behalf of the Exploring Board of Directors to present the Oceanside, that's next week, Oceanside Police Department Explorer Post with the Gold Journey to Excellence Award. Now, the Journey to Excellence Award, there's 9 different categories that we as an organization assess the Explorer Post. That involves things like having trained officers who are mentoring the explorers, having hands-on activities, and community service. Now, this Explorer Post here does a lot of community service, over 15 community service events, I believe, last year in Oceanside, so giving back to their community. They've also graduated 2 explorers from the Law Enforcement Explorer Academy, which is held annually. And they currently have, I believe, 16 explorers. 4 new ones have joined this year, with plans of adding more this year. So congratulations on Explorer Post 285 for achieving this award.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're very proud of Detective Ryan Malone, who heads our program for us, and we're very proud of all of our explorers. These are your future police officers in our city. And we have a number of them who are actually volunteering at another community event tonight, or else they would be here too. So we thank you for all your support, and we're very proud of our crew.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your patience. We get people who have been here for 30 years like we had tonight. Some of the awards and recognition is necessary for a city like our size. I'm happy and I enjoy it, but I'm sorry to wait you about 15 minutes. Thank you. We'll go forward at this point. Mr. Clerk, should we have public? How many?
Yes, 4.
4? Let's go forward with this.
Yes, we have 4 members of the public wishing to speak on off-agenda items. I'll call all 4 in the following order: Wendy Brophy, Jane Marshall, Jenna Newcamp, and Karen Benson. You can line up at both podiums and speak for 3 minutes.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. First come, first served.
We'll pick you first.
Okay, I'm the only one. Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jane Marshall. I'm an Oceanside resident for a long time. It's good to see you all. Welcome back, Mayor. I'm glad you're feeling better. I just wanted to make a couple of comments and thank Councilman Feller for his letter to the UT stating his position very emphatically against digital billboards. We've worked really hard on that, and we appreciate it. It's nice to see that you actually use the voice of the citizens, doing a poll to make sure that you are voting in the right way. And I encourage all the councilmen people to do so, because we are your voting constituents, and we would really appreciate that you listen to us. And I realize that as we go forward, the next step would be to modify the sign ordinance or rescind the amendments to the sign ordinance, so it's not ever apparent issue. And I realize that puts some people in a very uncomfortable position. But really, and I hate to say this, but it's a fiduciary responsibility to us as voting citizens, even though maybe puts you into an uncomfortable position, with promises or things that you've made in the past. So I hope that you will stay the course with us. I did want to let you know that we had a wonderful Earth Day event, and the people did a fabulous job. We met a lot of citizens, and they're very excited about everything that's going on in Oceanside, including this whole thing that Colleen Foster and her team are doing with Goodwill and such. And finally, I mean, I just heard today on KPBS, and I hope it doesn't get to that, but that, you know, some people are very concerned about the sign ordinance, and if it's not allowed to have digital billboards, that there may be lawsuits and stuff. But again, I want to reinforce that we, your voting constituents, do not want these, and we really want to make sure that you're listening to us. We have over 1,600 now and going strong, signed petitions and emails, and we'll keep going until this is put to bed. So thank you all for your support, and I hope to see that we don't, you know, I hope that I don't have to keep coming here unless it's another issue. Good night.
Good evening. My name is Wendy Brophy, and my husband and I live at 5114 Bella Colina Street. And we've lived in Oceanside about 11 years, and over that time we've been very impressed by the efforts being made to beautify Oceanside. Now we're very surprised, in fact shocked and horrified, to hear that there's a consideration for permitting electronic billboards, digital billboards. They are an eyesore. I believe Councillor Sanchez actually referred to them as a blight on the community, and I couldn't agree more. I think they're not only unsightly, but they're a danger to drivers. They're a dangerous distraction. I have learned that if a driver takes his or her eyes off the road for only 2 seconds, they are 24 times more likely to have an accident. Do we really want any more accidents on Route 78 than we already have? I only voicing my own opinion. I'm not here representing any organization. So I am, but I don't think I'm alone in my concerns. So, Mr. Mayor and council members, I ask you, please do not deface our city with these monstrosities. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I thought this one was in the middle, sorry. Thank you, Mayor Wood and esteemed council from the City of Oceanside. Hi, Jerry, nice to see you. We are here this evening. I want to thank you for the opportunity just to be here. My wife and I started Comprehensive Autism Center, which is located on Mission Avenue here. It's a world-class treatment facility for children with autism. In 2008 with the goal of providing the best in care for families affected by autism. As our business has grown, so has our perspective. We understand that if we do not look beyond our day-to-day operations and provide more meaning for the services we provide through the community, then we have failed. We understand that living with autism is a trial and know our families often feel they are outliers in the community, where judgment and unacceptance are fueled by lack of knowledge. We feel it is our ethical responsibility to work with our community, where our families reside, to provide sensitivity training and programs that bring the neurotypical and community of unique needs together so that we build bridges to a life of meaning for this special population. If we do not have communities that are ready to embrace our kids and young adults, then all the services in the world are not measurable and success is limited. The reason we are here tonight is it is Autism Awareness Month, and we are doing a program for the city of Oceanside and the city of San Diego in the next week, and we just wanted to tell you about it. So, and this is Jenna Newcamp. She runs our school at the center.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to us
Hold
this
the mic
evening.
down a little bit. You're a little shorter.
Our event is being held here in Oceanside. We are located at 3355 Mission Avenue, and our state-of-the-art facility is hosting an event that we like to call How Do I Feel? On May 7th, between the hours of 10 and 12, we're inviting council members as well as public officials, our superintendents from the schools on base as well as here in the city of Oceanside to join us in this effort to raise awareness for individuals with autism. I'd like to share just a short story, how I feel that our children impact not only our community, but their peers. We serviced a client between the ages of 2 and 10, and this individual we grew a special bond with. He also grew a special bond with one of his peers at school. This peer was known as the school bully, but not to our client. He did not bully our client. He actually devoted his lunchtime, sat with our client, and they developed a special bond. It's quite unique, and we like to bring some light onto this because he brought the best out in this bully, well, what they knew as, and we feel as though that it's truly a blessing to have these services and to be able to raise awareness for the community and for our clients.
Thank you very much. It's easier for our invitations to be sent to each of the council members
I do
for
have
their age.
have flyers with me today.
Sure, give them to the clerk.
Most
Thank you very
definitely.
much.
Jimmy, I'll put one on the overhead.
Goes out to the city of Oceanside and on TV.
Thank you, Mayor Wood.
Sure.
Council, I appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Karen Benson, and I live at 1220 St. Helene Court in Oceanside. I've been a resident and a homeowner for 27 years, and I've enjoyed Oceanside. I'm here today, Honorable Mayor and the members of the City Council. I am speaking to you today on the subject of the proposed city-owned digital billboard sign. As a 27-year resident of Oceanside, I am in opposition to the signs for the following reasons. The signs are distracting to drivers. I have experienced this firsthand while driving past them off the 405 freeway in LA. At night, it's dark and the lights of the signs are so bright that they temporarily distract me from what's in front of me. We have enough accidents on Highway 78 without these distractions. Oceanside has seen improvements, and we have all worked hard to create a charming beach community. Putting up these offensive billboard signs will degrade the overall charm to the city of Oceanside. I do not want the city to be cheapened by these signs. We are not a city like Las Vegas or Los Angeles. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. And in closing, please know that I and a lot of my friends here in Oceanside do not want these billboard signs. Thank you.
Our final speaker is CM Rocco.
Hello, Cindy Rocco. First of all, thank you in consideration to the city-owned land and considering not having the digital billboards. I'm against the digital billboards. But I also, in reference to what Jane said as far as recodifying or doing something to ban the citywide billboards that are also proposed. I know that I think Tri-City or Oceans 11, which are on, well, Oceans 11 specifically, I guess I could say, it's an interstate highway, I-5, and it's a scenic corridor. And it's part of the interstate federal defense highway. And I know that California, I know we want to do it for for money, et cetera. But we've also agreed to the bonus law. I can't remember if it's cotton, what the laws are, but we actually get a half of 1% of federal funding bonuses if we keep the advertising more than 660 feet off of the highways. And I know Metro Media is the key. I don't know a lot about law, but just in trying to read something about it. But I know that they didn't come through. They had a plurality opinion. But if we're afraid of lawsuits and stuff, Rehnquist was saying that, what did he say? That prohibition of advertising is directly related to the stated objectives of traffic safety and aesthetics, and that the aesthetics alone could be enough to ban the billboard. So if we wanted to go forward and protect using safety and aesthetics, we could, I believe, do that from a legal perspective so that we wouldn't have any lawsuits, et cetera. So I just wanted to talk about the interstate and the scenic corridors, the bonus that we get from federal funding for the highways, which I know we're going to be doing a lot of changes, and we don't want to lose that. And there is precedence with the Supreme Court, et cetera, with some of the opinions on using safety and aesthetics as a defense against the First Amendment, 14th Amendment. I'm not 100% sure, but I just wanted to talk about some of the legal aspects and doing the citywide versus just the city-owned advertising. That's it. Hopefully that made sense.
Thank you.
No further public on this item.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, will we go forward on item 24?
Yes, item number 24 is adoption of a resolution making findings that the proposed solar project Phase 2 to be installed by PFMG Solar, LLC, at various city facilities under a power purchase and solar site license agreement will generate cost savings estimated at $11,152,125, which will offset any rental payments to which the city might otherwise have been entitled for the property. Authorization to award a power purchase agreement to PFMG Solar, LLC of Huntington Beach. Authorization for the city manager and designated staff to execute the solar site license agreement for Phase 2 upon receipt of all supporting documents, and approval of an amended and restated power purchase agreement for Phase 1.
Thank you. As public mayor, I'll open this public hearing and ask the council to contacts and disclosures, please.
Staff then participated in the groundbreaking.
Staff.
Staff.
Staff and the groundbreaking, yes.
Staff only.
Thank you. Any correspondence, petitions?
All material has been provided to the council.
Thank you very much. And with that, Ms. Dale, long time, good seeing you again.
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. I'm going to be introducing John McKelvey, who's our Water Utilities Management Analyst. He will be doing our presentation this evening. So come on up, John. And then John and I will be at sidebar with questions after the presentation.
Thank you very much. John, good seeing you.
Good to be back, Mr. Mayor, council, city managers, city attorney. Okay, I'm back. Back in August of 2005, seems like that long ago, 2015.
Time flies.
It sure does. So I'm going to give you some background information to help you make a decision today. So back in August 5th of 2015, this council approved a power purchase agreement for 5 sites. Those sites are, to refresh your memory, Melville Bishop Community Center, El Corazon Senior Center, Police Headquarters, Fire Station 7, and the City Operations Center. At that time, staff was requested to return with additional options. We're back. So we went forward with our partner PFMG and evaluated several sites in the city, including this complex, several parks and recreation facilities, The remainder of our fire stations, with the exception of Fire Station 8, because it's not a city-owned facility, it's a leased facility, the harbor, several sites along the harbor, and water and sewer sites. Some candidates were better than others, and what we've got tonight are the following sites. So we've got, I'm not sure if the pointer will work or not, but I guess not. So I'll request your indulgence. So starting on the west side of the city, we've got North Harbor and South Harbor. We've got Jones Road. We've got the Mission Basin Groundwater Purification Facility. We've got fire stations 4, 5, and 6, and Martin Luther King Jr. Park. And so I'm going to give you a brief overview of each site, give you a conceptual layout. These are subject to change, but these are what we're proposing. The first site is the Mission Basin Groundwater Purification Facility. The notable comment on this site is this is the only ground installation we're proposing. The reason is the land that we're proposing to put that on, it isn't really conducive to parking. It's there's high voltage power lines and a gas line running right next to where the solar field is proposed. The rest of the sites are carport proposed. So we've got North Harbor. For orientation in the middle there, the little blank dock is the Jolly Roger, and to the big parking lot with the military vehicles would be Camp Hamilton. The South Harbor, the triangular building there to the right is Joe's Crab Shack, and the building to the left of the red X, the farthest left red X is a yacht broker. I should note that both of these sites will require local coastal permits, and staff will be back before this council to get those permits with PFNG at the appropriate time. We expect later this summer or fall. Fire Station 4, 5, and 6. Sorry, those labels aren't too easy to read. The Jones Road facility, what I'll note on this facility, because it does make a difference, the parking will be for the fire department, folks that are training. That red X is on a water facility, so the benefit from the solar in this case will benefit the water department, whereas the parking will benefit the fire department and those that are coming for training. And Martin Luther King Jr. Park. Now, I need to tell you a little bit about Martin Luther King Jr. Park, because what we're proposing here is a far bigger installation than the power needs at that park. And what we plan to do with that is, because we could not, for a variety of reasons, propose solar at this facility, we are going to enact or use a tariff rate through SDG&E, and it's available in the state of California. It's called RES-BCT, and you're about to find out what that means to me. I'm sorry, Ms. Franklin. So what that does is it allows us to generate the electricity here and use the credits from the excess electricity that we generate at other facilities. And we've come up with several facilities, including this complex, the Pier Lifeguard Headquarters, Balderrama Recreation Center, Seagaze Parking Lot, basically the transit center area, Mission Ranch Library, and the Brook Streets Recreation Center. So all of those general fund accounts will benefit from this installation. This is a pretty significant installation. So tonight, what you're being asked to do is make several findings. Excuse me, I got ahead of my notes. So the first finding that we're asking you is to affirm the finding that it would be, again, that the reduced cost of electricity through the power purchase agreement is nominally less for us than purchasing it through our utility, which would be SDG&E. So I'm going to give you some background information to help you make that decision or determination. First of all, our average SDG&E blended rate for the calendar year 2013 was 23.10 cents per kilowatt hour. Under this power purchase agreement that we're bringing tonight, the blended rate is 14.79 cents per kilowatt hour, and in some cases, it's even less than that. But the overall rate the city is going to see is 14.79 cents. So it's a difference of almost 9 cents per kilowatt hour. And that's assuming over the course of the 25-year agreement term, we're assuming a 5% SDG&E annual increase. It could be anywhere from 3% to over 20%. We use 5% as kind of the sweet spot. In my experience, we have seen more than 5% increases the last few years, so we think that's a safe assumption. Using that number, we are looking at a net savings over 25 years to the city of over $11 million, 11.2 just about. The second finding that we would request that council makes tonight is that the difference between the fair market value of the license agreement, so we are allowing PFMG, if this power purchase agreement and solar site license are adopted tonight, PFMG Solar, our partner contractor, will be allowed to build on our property in exchange for the reduced cost energy and the benefit that we derive from the carports. To give you a little background on that, all of the sites that I've shown you, and I can go back if you have any questions, are, with the exception of the Mission Basin facility, parking lots. Their best use at this point is parking lots. We don't really see any other use for them. So what we're proposing is to put carports on there, shade the parking for the folks at the harbor, for the folks at the parks, for fire station staff, and we believe that'll be beneficial. And to give you an idea of what it costs for a carport, the estimate cost per square foot is between $50 and $75 a square foot. We're recommending with these proposed sites over 81,000 square feet of solar carport. So I did the math for you so you don't have to, and the value there is at $50 to $75 a square foot, between $4 and $6 million. So clearly, it would appear that the city is getting a benefit beyond the reduced cost of the energy. Finally, council is asked to authorize the execution of the power purchase agreement and the solar site license agreement. So the power purchase agreement is what allows us to actually buy the reduced cost energy. The solar site license agreement, as I mentioned, is what allows PFMG to be on our property, build on our property, and provide us the electricity. Also, it's in the staff report, it's not at the title of the slide, but after PFMG walked through all of our sites with their financier, the financier requested some additional changes to the original power purchase agreement. It doesn't change our terms of, in the case of years, or in the case of dollars that we're going to pay, or pennies that we're going to pay for the electricity. What it does is it clears up some confusion that they had about insurance requirements, warranties, and some other issues. And something that I'll note, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but in doing the due diligence for this phase one, when they went to the police headquarters, because some of that solar is going to be roof mounted, and because the financier requires a 25-year lifespan warranty on the roof, we are getting a new roof at police headquarters, complete brand new roof at no cost, because it's part of the agreement. And with that, I will end. For the residents and the council and folks in the audience, this is a rendition of what Fire Station 7 will look like when the solar is put up. It is also the invitation to the event that some of you mentioned that was held on March 23rd. That I will be at Sidebar. I do want to mention that Mike Beverly, Michael Streams, and Paul Mikos from PFMG are here and are willing to answer any questions you might have, as well as myself and Carrie. Thank you.
Please have all three of them stand up. Can't see you behind the podiums. Anyhow, who's who, please start at one end and identify yourself.
Mike Beverly, Director of Development.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I'm Michael Streams. I'm General Counsel for PFMG Solar.
Good evening, I'm Paul Mikas, the president of PFMG Solar. Thank you for having us this evening.
Thank you, gentlemen, I appreciate it. Sorry you're so late in the day, but hey, we got you here. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, public on this?
Yeah, there's a public hearing item. Any members of the public who'd like to speak on this specific item may come to address the council at this time. Mayor, I see none.
I see none. I'll close this public hearing and come back to the council, please. And I have several lights. Please start with Deputy Mayor. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Ms. Sanchez.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, thank you, Mr. McKelvey, for that exciting presentation. I know we've been, talking about solar power for, gosh, I don't know how many years. Yeah, there you go. And we always were told, it's not financially feasible yet. It's not. And here we have a 25-year saving $11.2 million going into the future for Oceanside. And on top of that, we're getting a new roof for our police station. So, wow, that's really great. This is easy. I'm going to move adoption of the resolution. I'm excited about this partnership. And I think that, at the park, oh my gosh, at the park, kids are going to be seeing this and really thinking that Oceanside is really, really about planning for the future. So thank you very much.
Do we have a second? I have a second from Deputy Mayor. Thank you very much. With that, Mr. Kern, please.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. Who maintains those panels?
PFMG will be responsible for building it, maintaining it, and any graffiti or vandalism that happens, it's their responsibility. The only thing that the city will be responsible for is paying for the electricity generated.
Okay. And then I guess the same goes for technology upgrades. I mean, the idea that over the next 25 years, I'm sure that as solar advances, there's going to be probably some leaps and bounds in technology. And so are they committed to the technology upgrades, or are they just committed to...
You know what, I don't want to speak for PFMG, but I will allow Mr. Beverly to speak to that.
Okay.
Sure.
Would ask him to.
Thank you, John. So the way the power purchase agreement works is that it's our responsibility to deliver the power to the city that's in the contract. So going forward, if there are technological advances that improve the ability for us to produce power, and that's to the advantage of the city as well, then the PPA allows for upgrades or replacement to equipment as may be needed or as may provide an advantage to the city.
Okay, and then as long as you're there, at the end of the 25 years, who owns the panels?
So there's three options at the end of the agreement. The first option is that we can renew the contract. We could put new panels up and extend the contract for 10, 20, 25 years. The second option would be for the city to purchase the system at that time at fair market value. And the third option would be we would come in and remove the system at our cost and restore all the facilities to as they were before we got there with the solar system. So one of those three options would rest with the city.
Okay, and the only other question, we've been kicking this around for years about a new police station someplace in the city other than where it's at. So how would we handle something like that if we do end up building a new police station someplace else?
Well, so the power would still be provided for whatever the service is there. At the police department in particular, I can tell you that the system, we were limited by the amount of roof space and area we had. So even if the next tenant used less power, the system would still be sized according to the usage there. And so the same cost savings that would have been realized by the city will be realized by whoever else is in that building.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, please.
I remember when we reviewed the initial 5 locations, and one of the questions that we asked was about how those locations were chosen. And one of the elements that I believed I heard was that we have too much fog over here on the coast, and it's a little too cool. We don't get that much full sun, and 5 miles or 6 miles inland we get a lot more sun. And now I see all the 2 at the harbor, and not that that's bad if that works. I mean, they're doing it, and I'd like to see more of that. But do we have is there a phase 3? Push that back.
If that's council's desire, we could certainly look into it. What I would request is that council give us a chance to get the system up and running and see how it's doing. We believe it's going to be very successful. The way we selected the initial sites was we had our consumption data, we provided it to all the contractors, or actually, we provided it initially to consultants who told us that these are your low-hanging fruit sites, these are the ones you'll get the biggest bang for your buck the fastest, and those are the sites we selected for phase 1. For phase 2, we took all of our data, I shared it with PFMG, and they came back and said, these are the sites that are optimal for you for solar. We certainly could come back with the phase 3. I think my comfort level would be much higher, honestly, if we got phase 1 built and operating and commissioned, and then phase 2 operating and commissioned, and come back to you with phase 3 maybe in a year or two. I'd like, it's whatever council directs us to do, we will do.
We're not in a hurry. Thank you.
Mr. Feller, please.
What's the rest of that? Is it Sakatumi? The RSPECT?
I believe so.
Yeah, it is. We have a tremendous lighting issue at Martin Luther King Park, just in the sports lights. Is that off the table on this deal, or, I mean, their need for, there are, I'm going to say something like 20 poles there, and they use the park. I mean, that is a concern for me, just how are they going to get it installed in between baseball, soccer, and football, and
well, to answer the first part of your question, which I think is, are we going to have sufficient power? As I said, we provided PFMG with our consumption data. Actually, it was fresh data after the last council meeting, and they sized the system accordingly, and it's actually going to generate surplus to need. That's why we're going to be able to do the RES BCT. As far as scheduling, that is, we're working very closely with all the departments that are affected, with both parks maintenance and the programming side. So we are, and PFMG has been great working with us to work around schedules. We know, for example, we can't build at the harbor at the peak of summer. We know that there are some issues potentially with nesting birds at the Mission Basin site, so they're going to have to work around that. So they're aware of those concerns, and we are working closely with the department, so I can assure you that scheduling will be an issue that we deal with, and we have worked hand in hand with every department that's affected.
I would just, you know, I'm in that park a lot. I know that it's used heavily. Parking is limited, even though we've received some parking on the street. It's still, that's a well-used parking lot there. And Melba Bishop Park also services about 15 light poles, you know, so there's some good use there. Same, you know, the Boys and Girls Club up in, do we still own that building too? So, I mean, there's the Boys and Girls Club in Ortega Park. There's a lot of opportunity. The biggest concern I have is, what are you going to say to the environmentalists when you take out all the trees that because they're really mean when they lose a tree. So, and there's trees everywhere in these lots that you're talking about.
Right. I will not mislead council. There are some trees that will be removed. We think they're going to be at a minimum. We've actually changed some of our recommendations based on some tree issues. We had a few more parks in the mix, and we've removed them because of that very concern. So, if it would help you, council member, I could have Mike come up and tell you about some of their experience working with high schools during football season. I've heard some of those stories, and I think that your comfort level might go up a little bit. Would you like him to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to hear just because it seems so difficult in what we're going to be doing here. So,
Sure. Thanks, John. You know, I think one of the things that we do at PFMG Solar is we're not a residential solar developer. We're not a big utility power plant style developer. What we do is build these type of projects for public school districts, public agencies in Southern California. And as a part of that, we have a lot of experience working with different communities in delivering these projects so that they're successful, but also so that the impact of the construction is minimized. As John mentioned, we have a lot of experience working in areas like high schools that are very, very complicated parking lots that are active with a lot of young drivers. And so we understand that it's important that phasing of the construction, coordination of schedule is important, and trying to minimize the impact on the sites is really key. And that's, you know, one of the things that we've talked with the staff about. And one of the reasons we continue to be selected for these type of projects is because our team is able to deliver that kind of work. And, you know, on the Phase 1 projects, the city has been very helpful and very engaged in discussing schedule and what that's going to look like. And as we move forward and roll in the Phase 2 projects, that'll be the next step, is determining when we can build, how much of the parking lot we can use, and how we can phase the construction to minimize the impact of the construction on the sites.
Well, we're buyer beware, so, you know, I'm going to hear the complaints, I'm sure, so. And in Phase 3, you could do Ortega Park, too. I mean, that way you get them all covered. Anyway, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a motion and a second already. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much, staff. I thank you very much, and thank you for coming all the way down here. I appreciate it. Mr. Clerk, 25, when you get the time.
Yes, item number 25 is adoption of a resolution approving regular coastal permit to permit an addition of a west-facing 690-square-foot second-story balcony, changes from a flat to a gable roof, and addition of an open lattice rear patio cover to the existing recreational lobby building for the Marina Del Mar condominiums located at 1202 North Pacific Street within the Oceanside Small Craft Harbor Precise Plan Area. Applicant Marina Del Mar Condominium Homeowners Association.
Thank you very much. As mayor, I'll open this public hearing and request disclosures, please.
Yes, staff.
Nothing.
Staff.
Staff.
Staff only.
Correspondence, petitions.
All material has been provided to council.
Thank you very much. And it's been a while.
It has.
Scott, good seeing you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. I'm Scott Nightingale, here to present agenda number 25 for a request of a regular coastal permit to conduct improvements to the Marina Del Mar recreational lobby building. This image here shows the improvements that they wish to conduct to the lobby building. The property is located at 1202 North Pacific Street within the Oceanside Small Craft Harbor. It's situated surrounded by the Harbor Maintenance Building, Storage Building to the north, the Harbor In-Water Boat Slips to the east, the harbor parking lots to the south, and the parking and the Pacific Ocean directly to the west. The property was established under a ground lease with the Marina Del Mar Homeowners Association back in 1973 for the actual construction of the condo complex. These images show what the condo complex looks like now. On October 1st, 2014, a lease agreement and an extension was approved for an additional 20 years, which now brings their lease agreement to an expiration date of December 31st, 2066. So since they now have more time to occupy the site, they've requested this coastal permit to renovate this specific recreational lobby building. As you can see, the lobby building as well as the condo complex is pretty outdated and has been deteriorating basically because of the salt and the beach elements. So it's in need of renovations. So this coastal permit is actually just a request to construct facade improvements and develop an attached 690 square foot second story balcony just to the recreational building. An addition of a freestanding trellis is also proposed at the rear of the building, They do propose to alter the roof from a flat to a gable roof, which should not change the height substantially. The increase is about a foot or two. Also changes in windows and doors and wall materials and colors. Here's an image of the proposed treatments and improvements. As I said in the description, they plan to add a 690 square foot balcony and change the roof from flat to gable. These improvements to the recreational building are similar to the recently approved condominium, the entire condominium complex substantial conformity, which we approved back in September for exterior facades. They were just changing out windows, doors, restuccoing, repainting, and that didn't warrant the requirement of a coastal permit. But the added square footage to the decks to this building does. So that's the reason why we're here tonight. Here's an image of the interior renovations that would be a part of this plan. This would create a larger game room for the residents, larger reception area, enable some handicap accessible bathrooms, also create an elevator up to the second floor, which we don't have now, and create a small kitchenette and assembly area. When reviewing this project, staff reviewed the project based on the compatibility with the zoning ordinance and compatibility with development standards, height, setbacks, things of that nature. Also compatibility with the harbor precise plan. We found that the proposed development will enhance the property as well as the neighborhood and will be consistent with the already approved substantial conformity improvements for the overall condo complex. This project also complies with the local coastal program and general plan policies for land use compatibility. And with that, staff recommends that the Harbor Board adopt the resolution for approval of the regular coastal permit and adopt the resolution for approval. This concludes the presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Stephen Sidebar, appreciate it. Public?
At this time, the applicant has 20 minutes to speak if he wishes to.
Hi, I'm the architect for the project, Bart Smith, and I'm available for any questions, but I haven't prepared any kind of presentation or anything. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. If any members of the public wish to speak on this item, they may come forward this time. Mayor, I see none.
I see none. I'll go ahead and close this public hearing and come back to the council. Thank you very much. Ms. Sanchez?
Move adoption of the resolution.
No second. Second, okay. Thank you very much. I see no other lights. If none, I'll say please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much. And before we adjourn, I'd like to go back and see, we'll adjourn this mayor council workshop at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Wednesday, April 27th of this year. And that's all, unless you have any other comments or I missed anything.
No, everything.
Thank you very much. And anyhow, I'll adjourn this meeting. Ladies, do you have school things?